Alright, so it's been about 6 months that I've been posting consistently on YouTube, so I thought it's about time I did a bit of a reminisce on the last 6 months and talk about what I've learned so far. I've learned a lot of tough lessons along the way, and sure, I could add a little bit of value to the community if anyone was looking to start a YouTube channel of their own, or just kind of go all in on something and hopefully save yourself a little bit of headache along the way. So I'm just going to sit here and drink my coffee as I reflect over the last 6 months and some of the takeaways from that. Alright, so to give you a bit of a scope as to what I'm actually talking about here, I'm talking about posting on YouTube regularly for about 6 months. That's one video every single week. I've also been posting regularly on Instagram with a post almost every single day. These are mostly reels, which are snippets from the longer video content that I've been creating. I also share snippets from live streams from my members community over at Mr. Ed Rollo Plus. All of this is funneling back into building up my own kind of personal brand. And it's been a challenge. It's been dedication, a lot of consistency, a lot of discipline, and a lot of just kind of pushing through when I haven't really wanted to do anything. You know, that motivation to keep going quickly starts to fade, and it's the discipline that's going to keep you going. Motivation is what gets you started. And I think this brings me to my first lesson that I've learned, which is figuring out why you do it in the first place. You know, I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek's work, and his main message is the importance of why, and figuring out why we do things is the one thing that's going to keep you going. Your why, in essence, never changes, but your how and your what can change over time. So why I do things, or why we do things, is a constant. I love this kind of mentality because the why keeps you grounded, and it keeps you focused, and keeps you kind of motivated to keep going because you understand why you're doing it in the first place. It's quite liberating because how you do things or what you do can evolve over time, but that why never changes. And this is, to be honest, the most important thing for me personally, and I believe for other people who are looking to go down this road. If you figure out why you're doing it and reflect on that daily, your whole journey will be constantly reinforced by that and will kind of give you a greater sense of purpose going forward. I think this is one of those areas that gets overlooked by a lot of creators. They just kind of jump into it not really knowing why they're doing it. Perhaps they're doing it just to get more followers or to get more subs or to get some sponsorships or just to make money. And those are all byproducts. They're byproducts of you doing what you're doing, but figuring out why you're doing it is what's most important. That way of doing things is not terribly sustainable because you will burn out very quickly. But if you really lock down why you're doing things, that is what's going to sustain you and fulfill you. Now, this next lesson is a bit of a cop-out, but to be honest, don't focus on the numbers. I've heard a lot of YouTubers say this, and I never believe them because I always thought, well, you've got a huge following, what do you care? Of course you don't focus on the numbers. But honestly, they have a point. I certainly don't have huge numbers, but I've got more numbers than I thought I would have at this stage. And it does me absolutely no favors to focus on my numbers or to compare my numbers or my statistics against other people. It gets me nowhere. I don't benefit from it. It just makes me feel like shit because I'm like, oh, I don't have as many followers or as many subscribers or as many numbers or statistics as someone else. I mean, where do I go from that? It's not really motivation. It's just comparison. And as they say, comparison is a thief of joy. Focusing on what's going to get you more subs, what's going to get you more likes, what's going to get you more traction kind of makes sense from a marketable perspective, but you'll quickly find yourself a slave to this and be constantly coming back to that and reinforcing your method that this is the way to go forward, which it's not. Again, the followers, the subs, the likes is a byproduct of you doing your thing. So don't focus on the numbers, focus on doing your thing. Trust in the process of creating and doing what's most important to you. Now, this next lesson is kind of a tough pill to swallow, but don't expect support from your peers. I know this sounds crazy, but I can't tell you how baffling it has been to see the amount of momentum that I've been pushing from my end with little to no support from some of the closest people around me. Maybe I just have a very shitty circle of peers around me, but believe me, this is way more common than you think. The biggest supporters of what I do are the people who don't know me. From relentlessly posting on Instagram and YouTube and sending out emails and just like going all in on my purpose, which is helping people make music, it is absolutely astounding that other people in my close inner circle who I would think would really resonate with my message are completely silent. They've never engaged with a single post on social media. They've never commented, never liked, never shared. But I know that they see me because I've made an effort to be everywhere. I post on Instagram, I post on Facebook, I'm sending out emails, I'm posting on YouTube regularly. I'm constantly on Instagram stories posting Q&As. These people are seeing what I'm doing, but they're certainly not supporting. And the only time I've ever received any engagement from these people is when they've criticized something that I've done. Some people are just extremely quick to judge and terribly slow to praise. Now, on the flip side to that, my social media channels have grown everywhere. On Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube obviously. Something that I've learned about social media is that there's kind of a roll-on effect. When one of your platforms starts to grow, they all kind of start to grow together. I've been kind of struggling to grow my audience on Instagram and Facebook, but as my YouTube channel has started to build, people have just kind of been rolling over to Instagram and DMing me saying, "Oh, great to see you on Instagram as well." I'm even getting followers and tags on Twitter, and I don't even use Twitter. I have an account, but I don't use it. I should. But staying active on at least a few of these social media platforms at once and putting all of your energy into a couple of them is really going to benefit things in the long run. Now, this is a lesson that I learned a long time ago, but start building an email list. This is like marketing 101, but honestly, it's one of the most effective forms of communication and marketing out there. I send out a marketing email once or twice a week. Generally speaking, this is an email that has got some sort of helpful information around music making, so that I'm actually giving value back to my email list, not just trying to sell stuff to them. But then there's also a call to action at the bottom of every single email. And the more you do this and the more you get comfortable sending these kinds of emails, you really start to realize the power of what you can do with an email database. It doesn't just have to be to sell products. You can spread awareness, or you can connect with your audience on a slightly deeper level. I'll often get emails back from my list where people say what I've written in the email has really helped them out. And writing the emails actually becomes quite therapeutic because it's almost kind of like journaling. These videos are obviously a great opportunity for me to just kind of spew my thoughts into a video and post it online. And I find that emails is a similar format, but it's a little bit more quick fire. I can get them out really easily. It's another way to spread my message, and it's also a fantastic marketing tool. And I'll use this opportunity now to say, if you would like emails from me, there's a link in the description. Start building an email database. You may want to give away something for free to have some sort of a lead generator. For me, I use my Mr. Ed Rollo Plus platform where I teach people to make music, and I have a free trial on there where you can trial all my courses for free. And in return, I grab an email address which gets added to my list, so I think it's a pretty win-win situation. Do people unsubscribe from my email list? All the time, but I'm constantly getting new emails in, and my list is just growing and growing and growing. I started with around 20 email addresses back in like 2018, and now my list is well over 1,000. Now, this next lesson is around getting organized. This is something that I still haven't quite mastered for myself. I'm putting a lot of effort into getting more organized because I believe that this is one of my biggest faults at the moment. I've been talking about it for weeks and months about getting more organized, and I just haven't quite taken the plunge yet. So this is a bit of an open-ended lesson at this point because I haven't haven't quite mastered it yet, but it's something that I'm working on, and I realize how much benefit it could bring me just by getting more organized and getting more systems in place to help me keep doing what I'm doing. So these three things of like what you do, how you do it, and why you do it all kind of work in alignment with one another. My why is strong. My what is strong as well. But how I'm doing it is kind of forever evolving and needs a little tweaking. But I've recognized this as one of the most important things that I need to get handled to help me continue to build my brand. Now, this next lesson is kind of a curveball, but be prepared for people to copy you. You know, it's only natural when you strike a nerve with people and you touch on something that perhaps other people haven't touched on before, that other people are going to see what you do and try to copy you. You know, they say that imitation is the best form of flattery, and I guess that that's kind of nice, but at the same time, it's quite stifling as well, especially when it comes from content creators with far larger followings than I do. I've seen some videos which are painfully similar to mine with very similar titles, very similar thumbnails, and taking my kind of brash approach, taking a very similar approach to my persona and everything. And not to blow smoke up my own ass here too much, but as you start to build momentum, start to find your voice, and things start to work out for you and people resonate with it, be prepared for people to copy you. Now, this next one might be slightly controversial, but I have been reflecting on this quite a lot lately, and that is to not feel like you're entitled or deserving of anything for your efforts. I do believe that there is a huge amount of entitlement that goes along with creators out there, and that they feel like they should be deserving of some kind of remuneration for their efforts. I've discussed this a little with another YouTube creator, and we have kind of opposing views on this, but I do believe that us as content creators or as music makers or whatever we're doing, we're sharing things with the world, is somewhat of a privilege, and that feeling like you are entitled to some sort of return for your efforts, I think is an incredibly selfish point of view to take. This is why I feel so strongly around sponsorships and advertising on channels, and that YouTube creators are like, well, I need to get paid for what I do, in that we're all giving out this content for free for some reason, expecting some kind of return. If that's the mentality you want to take going into this, then that's fine. That's your own journey and your own path. But if you kind of flip that switch and take a more humble approach and say, you know what, I'm going to put this content out for free, and if something comes back, that's just a byproduct of me doing my thing and doing what's most important to me. Striving for brand partnerships or striving for, ad revenue as a sort of motivator for you to do what you do is a losing game. You may find that what you do as a creator starts to be compromised. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but this is just what's helped me personally. Surrendering that entitlement and saying, you know what, I'm just going to create, and if people stop watching, if people stop clicking, stop sharing, stop subscribing, that's fine. I've got nothing to lose. It's when you have something to lose, like ad revenue, like sponsorships, like partnerships, that in essence, you've created a machine that you can't turn off. So just be careful with that. Now, for this next point, I'd like to do a shout out to my dude, Miles Kundra. For those of you who don't know Miles, he makes amazing music, and he has his own channel where he does live jam videos, talks about the music making process, and is just an amazing content creator. Miles recently released a video about his own mental health and his journey through social media, which really kind of inspired me for this next point, being a regular content creator and what that does to our own mental health. I'm going to leave a link to Miles's channel in the description down below. Jump over to his channel and show him some love. Now, what Miles was talking about in his video was around protecting your mental health as a content creator, and how we can succumb to the algorithm and get caught up in the numbers, like the followers and the likes and the shares and the views. This is a really easy trap to fall into, and one that I found myself getting sucked into as well. When videos don't perform as well, when posts don't perform as well as the last one, there's an essence of emptiness that follows that, which is hard to shake as much as it feels like an incredibly first world problem. This feeling is real, and protecting your own mental health is something easier said than done. I mean, what does that even look like when people say protect your mental health? Like, how does that actually play out? I think think this comes from a lot of little kind of affirmations to keep telling yourself and having coping mechanisms that allow you to go forward and not be off-put by insignificant things like videos not performing as well as the last one. Like when you really break it down and take a look at things a little more holistically, we're really losing sight of the bigger picture. And I think that's what's helped me the most personally, is not losing sight of the big picture. The big picture is why I do what I do. I'm striving towards something greater than just an individual video's performance. Understanding my purpose in all this and my role and like the momentum that I'm pushing forward, that like a single post on an Instagram reel that only gets like 20 likes or a video that doesn't perform as well is a tiny little drop in the ocean. Now this really takes a lot of discipline to kind of release yourself from the self-gratifying satisfaction that we get from a post where we get hundreds of likes and a whole bunch of shares. But if you separate yourself from that and just go, you know what, this is one post in a post of hundreds, in a post of thousands, that the individual success of one post or one video is meaningless in an ocean full of content going forward. This has been incredibly liberating because now I just trust in the process. I reflect on the success or the engagement of a single post or a video to figure out how I could improve on things next time. But I'm certainly not tying the performance of that post to any kind of like self-worth or reflection on what I'm doing, because I'm confident in what I'm doing and that my role in all this is so much bigger than these individual posts. As a whole, I'm moving forward with strength and power and confidence and all that jazz. So yeah, protect your mental health, whatever that looks like. And this last one is kind of a bit of a cop-out and such a cliche, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just remember to have fun. I think my best performing videos and content that I've created so far is the videos when I've just gone, you know what, I'm going to forget about all the noise and just have fun with it. That is often much harder than it looks. People just say, yeah, just have fun, just create content for you. That is kind of a hard mindset to get into when you're juggling all the things that I've just mentioned before. The lack of engagement on your posts, the fact that your peers around you may not really support you, worried that you may not make any money off this video, or not really being as organized as you'd like to be, knowing that someone's going to come just around the corner and copy what you just did. All these things are kind of playing on your mind that are stopping you from just doing what you do best. Sometimes that fun has to be manufactured, like reminding yourself to have fun with it. So don't lose sight of why you do what you do. Trust in the process and try and enjoy it. So there's my obligatory 6-month update as being a YouTuber, content creator, freelancer, whatever you want to call it. You know, 6 months ago when I decided to kind of go all in on this, it was an incredibly exciting moment. It's gotten hard, very hard at times. I've had some ups and I've had some downs, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride, but I am trusting in the process. I'm trying to enjoy it as much as I can, and I'm learning so much as I go. I'd love to thank everyone who's come along for this ride, who supported me in some way, whatever that looks like. The little things that you can do that do support, things like subscribe to my email address. That would be amazing. Go hit me up on Instagram, hit me up on Facebook, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon if you haven't already. That stuff really helps. I don't monetize this channel. I don't do paid promotions. Some people have bought me coffees, and that is amazing. Those coffees have gone a long way, as you can see. I've also just introduced channel memberships, which gets you a little bit more of a behind the scenes and unplugged version of Mr. Ed Rollo. You can click the join button just down there. I have merch on my Mr. Ed Rollo website where you can buy a t-shirt. It's got Keep Creating written on the front of it. It's a really sweet shirt. There's my Mr. Ed Rollo Plus online training center for music makers. There is a free trial where you can trial all my courses for free for 3 days. No credit card required, but I'm going to sign off for now. If you did like this video, then please remember to subscribe. It really does help. And be sure to give this video a thumbs up also. And let me know what you thought of this video in the comments down below. Until next time, keep creating. Bye for now.